Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm down here at the picturesque, star-studded Darling Harbour here in Sydney. It's Tuesday morning. It's going to be a very, very hot, steamy autumn day. So much so that yesterday we were sent home at 1 o'clock because it was just very, very hot and very, very windy. Unseasonably so, but then again, Sydney always packs in its warmest weather towards the end of the summer season. What I'd like to do today is go through a book summary, a very powerful and a very interesting book summary written by an acclaimed author, an author of a number of awesome management books. His name's Robert Greene, and you may know of Robert Greene from the book The 48 Laws of Power. It's one of the books that I've read 3 or 4 times, and I've actually studied in depth because I just loved his style, and the message from that book just resonated so powerfully with me as it has with many, many people. The book that I'm going to go through today is entitled Mastery, and what we're going to do is we're going to dig a little bit deeper into what mastery is and how mastery can basically influence and transform your capabilities from a career perspective, but also from a family and a social perspective as well. So the book Mastery, a very simple sort of title, but a very profound message from this wonderful author. So the author here kicks off the book with an observation, with a comment, by saying that we become who we currently are by learning who you are. So this whole concept of mastery is basically leveraging and making the most of your ability to learn, your ability to accumulate knowledge, wisdom, skills, patterns throughout your life. And it basically invites us all to pay a little bit more attention and to be a little bit more curious and to back yourself and to understand how we function as people, to try and develop a learning capability, because according to the author, learning is simply the art of attaching the unknown to the known, and the more you learn, the more you know, the more you're capable of learning, and the more you're capable of knowing and learning as well. So the author's call to action here is to become curious and to do things with intention, to learn with intention, and to tap into your intuition, knowing very well that we're all different. We're brought onto this planet as different beings, and our job is to try and maximize what we're able to achieve, what we're able to do, the value we're able to create, and the love that we're able to generate within our single lifetime. Because at the end of the day, we're all given just the one portion of lifetime, and it's up to us, each and every one of us, to maximize that time and do the most we can and be the best we can be. So So the first key point that comes from this author, Robert Greene, is where he encourages us to trust ourselves and to trust our gut feeling and to try and identify what our callings are or what our calling is and pick a particular skill to master, to basically go through an inventory, a list of things that are of interest to you, and then to focus intently on one of those skills and see what you can do in order to master that skill by doing things intentionally over and over so that you can become better than average in a particular skill set. So the author says in order to do this, we first need to have a conversation and a relationship with ourselves, and we need to start trusting our feelings and try and understand what our calling or callings are, and to really appreciate and acknowledge that we are all creations of our own unique double helix, and not to spend too much time trying to blend in and hiding behind the crowd, rather than to spend more time listening to yourself, listening to your calling, and pursuing your inner voice. Because at the end of the day, as we say, you know, your mother, your father, your uncles, your aunts, your schoolmates, your community leaders, all of those people have good intentions, but only you can design and live your life and to achieve your particular unique calling. So the author here, once again, calls us to become creative and to become focused on doing the best you can with what you got. And he uses an example, a metaphor for us to think about. Leonardo da Vinci, who became synonymous with creativity, with art, with invention, and shaped a lot of the thought during his time, actually stole an expensive piece of paper from his father in order to go out into the woods and to start drawing animals and trees and things. So he had a desire, he had a burning desire from a very young age to express himself in a particular way, and in order for him to express that calling and that desire, he actualized it by having the courage to go and steal an expensive, and I note an expensive piece of paper from his father, to go out, disappear into the woods, and to immerse himself into the things that he enjoyed and the things that he was called to do. So the author here says that once you start listening and hearing your gut feel, your inner voice, you become more attuned to yourself, to who you are, and you become tuned to your gut, which enables you to become more intuitive as a person who is aligned to their values, a person who is aligned to their goals, a person who aligns their actions to the things that they value most, to their calling, and to the things that are going to create value that are going to shape, add shade and colour to their brand, and hopefully enable them to stand out in a world that is crowded, a world that is noisy, and have them be a leader and a master in their chosen field. And as we said, we all have different fields that we can master. We all are different in our skills. Whilst we all are created in God's image, God gives each person different amounts of his virtues. Whilst God is unlimited in the virtues or the amount of virtues that he has, the different virtues, each person is allocated certain portions of those virtues, and our role in life is to try and figure out how we can take that configuration, those different virtues that we've been gifted, we've been allocated, and make the most of them and become a master by combining them in innovative and creative ways to maximize the value that we can generate. And the value that we can generate, of course, is unlimited, but it's up to us to try and figure out how to combine, how to use, how to manage those virtues whilst not succumbing to vices, to not being distracted, so that we can be the best version that we can be of our particular self. The author also says something really profound here as well, where he says that learning comes before earning. Learning comes before harvesting, or hard work comes before harvesting. You need to learn before you start earning. So what we need to do, and the calling from this author is, we need to take an apprenticeship in a particular field that is unique and specific and enjoyable to yourself, and to learn as much as we can in that particular field. Not only learning it, but applying it, using it, and hopefully one day becoming a shining and bright example that we can also pass on our learnings to other people through our books, through our documentaries, through our vlogs, through our teachings, and through our example. But once again, it is a powerful point that he makes here, because you need to invest in yourself. Just like in order to love others, you need to love others as you love yourself. You first need to fill your cup. You first need to empty your cup before you fill it as well. But you need to fill your cup so that your cup fills and overflows, so that you can become then generous. You can become a teacher. You can become a mentor and a leader in your field. So the reason why we become wealthy, the reason why we become educated, the reason why we become networked and connected and popular is to use that to help other people. It is really that simple. God gives us the capability to achieve significant things in our lives, but he doesn't do it just so that we can enjoy ourselves. He does it so that we can use that, take that wealth, those riches that we have been able to accumulate through our faith, through God's blessing, and use that to make the world a better place. So the author here encourages us to not just focus on making money, but to focus much more intently in terms of how much you can learn, how much you can accumulate, so that once you learn and once you accumulate all of that sort of thing, then you can leverage it and use it to the betterment of the world and all of those around us. So we're encouraged to learn, we're encouraged to apply that learning and do things which are God-pleasing, rather than to use it in a selfish way, just to accumulate as many vehicles, as many postcodes, as many clothes, as many trophy wives or girlfriends. It's more about taking those skills, that wealth, and using it for a good cause. So a pretty powerful message there. So the author also goes on to say something here which is quite interesting as well. You're better off taking a lower paid job or a lower paying job that comes with great mentorship, because you'll get further and you'll get further faster by taking on a job that will open up doors, will open up windows, will take you down paths, will bend and stretch you, especially earlier in your career, because the more problems that you have, the more problems that you solve, the more jobs and opportunities that you have to be around people who are leaders in their field, then the more patterns and skills you're going to be able to accumulate and to load into your inventory of skills, so that whenever you get other similar sort of problems, or whenever you can identify a similar sort of pattern in the future, you will have a go-to answer. You will have a inventory, a library full of ways in which you can solve, ways in which you can approach, ways in which you can attack certain challenges, as well as having networks of people that you can go to as well. Because at the end of the day, learning has a greater return on investment than anything else you can do. And it gives you an opportunity to look into the future. It gives you an opportunity to expand your perspective, enables you to compare, to contrast, to benchmark, to baseline your life to other people's lives. Because at the end of the day, it's important to understand that we all live entirely different lives. We all are going to have a different past. We are all going to experience a different now. I am here, you're somewhere else. Even if we're in the same place at the same time, joined at the hip, we're going to experience a different here and now, depending on what you focus on, because we all live in a different matrix, a matrix of experiences, a matrix of skills, a matrix of ways of thinking, because we've all had different experiences. We've all weighted those experiences based on other experiences that we've had. We've inherited other people's experiences through the books that we've read, through the lessons that we've learnt, through our parents, our uncles, our aunts, our grandparents, our school friends, our teachers, our spiritual fathers, our community leaders, the television programs that we watch, the websites that we frequent, the friends that we're surrounded with. As Steve Covey and Jim Rohn always say, you're going to be the weighted average of the half dozen people you spend most times with, or most time with. So there is a call to action there once again, to try and invest as much time that you can with the best people that you can. people who are going to lead you somewhere better, people who are going to teach you, people that you can leverage, people that are going to have your best interests at heart, rather than people who are going to drain you, people who are going to make you feel inadequate or insignificant. So be careful with how you spend your time and who you spend your time with and how you invest your time. And as the author says, we need to be we need to focus on the things that are going to lead us to where we want to go, and to understand that life is different for each person and you've got to make your own choices. Benjamin Franklin, as an example, could have taken over his father's candle making business and been very comfortable and very successful in his own right, and yet he woke up one day and decided that that wasn't his calling, and he was going to follow his gut and do whatever was necessary for him to fully express himself and to express his calling. So once again, the call to action here from this author is to do as much as you can. I remember John Nematala, a friend of mine that I worked with at Telstra, told me that it's important to look at your job that you're currently doing, the work that you're currently doing, the career that you're currently pursuing, and to ask yourself the simple question: is the job that I'm currently working in a job that is going to lead me to a dead end, or is it a job that is going to lead me to greener pastures, to greater opportunities, to greater experiences? You know, in my job, am I meeting people who are going to open doors for me, or am I going to work with people who are going to drain me and to shut the doors for me? Are the experiences that I'm gaining in my particular work at the moment going to be valuable down the track? Are they going to enable me to grow, develop, become better? Or are they just basically same thing day in, day out, with no growth, no development, no future, and no opportunity? These are very important questions that we all need to ask of ourselves and of each other. So the author says that we need to take up an apprenticeship, but not only one apprenticeship. Our life is going to be a series of apprenticeships, and you need to be challenged throughout your life so that you can learn, so you can grow, so you can develop. And as some authors say, we need to lean just outside our comfort zones, because just outside your comfort zone is where the wow is where the learning is where the opportunity is. So, you know, you need to get comfortable, I guess, with being uncomfortable, with doing things that you haven't done before, meeting people you haven't met before, solving problems you haven't seen before. And the author also says a few other powerful things here as well, that once you've learnt something, then at some point in time you need to throw it out the window and open your mind and become flexible and learn other things. As Bruce Lee says, you need to empty your cup in order to fill your cup. So it takes a lot of courage to be doing certain things, to be learning certain things, to be working in certain industries and for a certain organisation. But at some point in time you just need to empty that cup, throw it all away and start again, knowing that all of the things that you've learnt are not going to be wasted, and you can reuse them. You can recalibrate them, you can reconfigure them in different ways and gain different results. So nothing that we do, nothing that we learn, no experience that we've been through is a waste as long as you have the right attitude, and your attitude is that what I've learned, what I've done, what I've experienced is going to be something that I can use in my future. So it's important to have, as we say, an open mind, but not to be too opened with your mind, else an open mind without being discerning is going to lead you down a path, and it's going to open you up to becoming a garbage tip for everybody else's rubbish. So we need to be careful that we don't open up our mind too much without guarding it, without being discerning, else we suffer the consequences. And as my friend John Nematala said many years ago, it's important to have knowledge, but being knowledgeable, being skilled is not as important as applying that knowledge and applying those skills. So we need to spend our lives, spend our time with developing our own unique style of your particular craft that you've identified as being an expression of yourself, and you flourish by innovating and continuing to learn. So once again, the key message is we need to be life learners, and we need to start now and to do as much as we can right here, right now. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's time for me to head off to work. It looks like it's going to be another very, very hot day. We'll see how we go. But I love Sydney, and just looking around here, you can understand why. Take care, everybody. Yassas. Bye for now, and happy Tuesday to everybody. Yassas.